Went out, caught me a red fly. Too many people on a bandwagon. Done been through that hellfire. Came out lethal like a red dragon. Same old rapper with the same old flows. Color dreads with the pants sagging. Got that fame, but you sold your soul. You a warlock, I'm the dark assassin. Said thick stacks, mode change, big bags, faux chains. Get that money, said big facts, no gains, big stats, mo fame. We back done said big names on stage, big trap, no shame. Going and running that big check, my name, sign that, mo rain.
What up, fam? Make sure you like, share, comment, drop some gorillas and some bisexuals down below. Drop them. Say what up to daddy. Say hi. Say hello. Papa Swoleo's going live for 54. Hero, live for 54. Everyone's getting their notifications. Notificaciones. Notify.
Went out, caught me a red fly. Too many people on a bandwagon. Done been through that hellfire. Came out lethal like a red dragon. Same old rapper with the same old flows. Color dreads with the pants sagging. Got that fame, but you sold your soul. You a warlock, I'm the dark assassin. Said thick stacks, mode change, big bags, faux chains. Get that money, said big facts.
The Swole man cometh. Cometh he does. Yes, he does. Yes.
Big trap, no shame.
Yes.
That big check, my name, sign that, mo rain. Come back home.
What's going on, everyone? Today's episode 854. As you're coming in, make sure you say hi. Now's a perfect time to drop your first comments. Get comfortable, get your coffee, get ready. Maybe you're on the way home. Maybe you got this live in your car. Pay attention to the fucking road. Don't look at me. So maybe some of you watching live, this is a podcast on your Friday commute. Welcome. Maybe you're across the pond. Maybe you're in Australia. You're getting up super early Saturday morning. Friday afternoon slamcast. Slam you. I'm gonna slam you right into the weekend, bitches. The coffee is real.
Went out, caught me a red fly. Too many people on a bandwagon. Done been through that hellfire. Came out lethal like a red dragon.
The coffee is real. Real. Everyone's pretty much here now. Just looking at the numbers. Takes a few minutes for people to get their notifications. But now that we got them, let's do this, fam. Welcome to 854 in 3, 2, 1, game time.
Shining, the birds are chirping, the bacon is sizzling.
Oh yeah.
Welcome.
I gotta thaw some bacon out. I need bacon tonight, I think. Methinks. Testing. Testing, testicles. Welcome everyone to episode 854 of the Daily Mother Swole, the most muscular swolecast, beardcast, broadcast, gaincast, mancast, pimpcast, slaycast, sleazecast, and just overall amazingly sausage-like nipplecast in the realm, because when I flex, you flex. We all flex our biceps. Are we now flexing our biceps? Come on, give some shout out to nipples of all shapes and sizes. Some people have those salami nipples. We have any salami nipples in the audience? Any salami nips tuning in? Come on, you know it. You know they exist. There's one thing for sure. There's one thing for certain. There are all different types of nipples in the world. That's one thing that we can be pretty damn sure of. There's something for everyone. There's some type of nipple out there that will apply to everyone, that someone will be attracted to. So if you haven't found that person yet, The Love Doctor Swolio is here to tell you that someone out there loves your nipples. They just don't know it yet. They just don't know it. They just don't know it yet. They haven't come across your nips. It's just not the right time. Sometimes our paths do not cross when we would like them to, right? Sometimes they don't. Sometimes they don't. We can't have it always. We can't have it always. There's just got to be this transition. It's life. It's life. I think that's the meaning of life. I think that is just the hard part, the hard thing about life. Sometimes you just don't meet that person that loves your nips. Well, that being said, welcome everyone that's joining me for episode 854. Thanks for watching on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitch, Periscope, the works. YouTube, did I say that? Yeah, I said that already. Everywhere. Daily Swole. You can check out Daily Swole Podcast on YouTube. Just type in Daily Swole Podcast. You can also go to twitch.tv/Swolenormous to catch me live over there. And Swolenormous everywhere else. And also on YouTube, I got the 2 channels going on. Such a fucking baller when you got the 2 channels, the double chan, not double chin, not double chin, double chan. And we got the podcast people. Holler at your boy. Thanks for listening in on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, wherever you get ear raped. Papa Swolio's knowledge dick is the one doing the raping. That's right. That's right. Well, now that we got that out of the way, happy Friday, everyone. Who we got tuning in? We got anything new? We got anything right off the cuff? Oh, I just got an unknown error occurred. Oh, that's scary. That's sad. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can refresh that. So the chat's coming in a little bit funky. I'm just going to remove that. A little funky chat. Funky chat. Seems like the tech is a little bit weird. I think all the tech companies are going home. It's Friday at 5 Eastern time. So everyone's like, all right, we don't have to monitor things anymore. No one's streaming at 5 o'clock on a Friday. Who the fuck would be doing live streaming? A Papa Swolio. Papa Swolio. So remember, if you're new, how many of you are new to the podcast? How many of you are just tuning in or are new to the show? Anyone just start listening or tuning in live in the past week or two? I know some of you watching and listening have gone through freaking every episode. You've listened to all of them, if not close to it. I do encourage you to look through the archives. Just got a question that popped up from Lainey Lehman. Have you talked about the keto diet? If so, what number? I have. The number, I have no idea. You're going to have to do a search on that. You can search on YouTube. You can type in the topic. A great thing to do on YouTube is to type in whatever you're trying to search for, and then do a space, and then type in Swolenormous, and it'll pull up videos on any of my channels that I've done, the podcast. I mean, you can just listen or watch wherever you want. But I don't remember. What episode was which. I think it might be a cool thing to somehow work out some kind of an archive, like a list archive, which I might actually do. I might be able to do that for my website, just an article, and you can search it. That's the hard part, is setting something like that up, but it's easily searchable. All the episodes for the most part are on YouTube, and you can just scroll through. I'm sure there's search functions on some of those apps where you can search for the actual talking points through the titles and things like that, but they're all out there. They're all out there. Oh my goodness. So let's see. CJ, been taking it easy this weekend, or you are taking it easy this weekend after killing it in the gym the last couple months. Cool. The God is live. Oh, the God. Papa Swolio, the God. All right. I'll take it. Are you all my worshipers? Are you worshiping? Is this like the Swole cult? Just the cult of fucking gains? The first cult that is really, really good for people to be a part of. The first, can we do that? Can we officially can I hashtag that like in my Instagram bio, leader of the first positive cult? Like the first, like really good, like the first health cult. I'm not talking about CrossFit. I'm not going there. But like the first, like the real, like a good cult to be a part of. Because I think you have groups, you have societies, you have communities. But cult, I think, isn't cult essentially? I have to look up the def on that. Is cult like a negative term to begin with? Let's see. Cult is defined as a system of religious veneration and devotion. I like where this is going. A system of religious veneration and devotion directed toward a particular figure or object. All right. I love when definitions don't give you what you want to hear and they don't really explain anything. Okay. A system. So a cult is a system and devotion. It's vague, though. Obviously, that's a very vague term. Another definition is a relatively small group of people having religious beliefs or practices regarded by others as strange or sinister. Well, I would think a bunch of people worshiping Swole and Gaines is pretty strange, so it's official. It's a cult. The cult of Saint Olaf. The fuck is that? My question was, I wasn't sure if it was fundamentally a negative term. I guess it could be if you consider it the strange or sinister part. Okay. Oh, thank you, dude. Appreciate it. You are the most motivating person I have ever seen. Everyone should listen to you. Well, I appreciate that. I appreciate all the support for everyone. And we can start off this episode. This episode's titled Resting for Gains. You're going to talk about recovery. So for those of you that are taking today off, Friday is usually either a great time for an episode to say, get the fuck up off your ass, do some work, or, hey, you're going to be making gains when you're resting. But I want to define what resting means. It doesn't mean sitting on your ass doing nothing, whether or not those of you that are watching on Instagram, whoever said that before, that you're taking time off because you've been crushing in the gym. Let's talk a little bit about what time off actually means, or what it should mean, or what rest actually should mean. Because rest doesn't mean, Cheetos, sitting on the couch, eating chips and crap and watching video, just doing nothing. I'll define how I view rest and what you should be doing for rest in that sense. Let's see. Oh, dude, great to hear it. Keith, since talking to you past weekend, I've almost reversed my terrible diet. Haven't missed a gym session. Feeling good about life again. Thank you, Papa Swole. Keith, just keep with the food. Really, man, the food is so linked to low mood or depression. Food is just really absolute foundational. It's such an important cornerstone for mental health. And Lainey, about the episode, that was 49. There have been many more content on high fat and stuff like that. So that's not the only one, but I would type in fat or keto and something like that on YouTube, and you can find all the numbers at least, and then you can listen to the podcast. Not every site, not every app has all. They don't get the RSS feed from every single episode I've ever done. SoundCloud has them all, because that's where I was originally hosting the podcast way back. But I think I want to do, oh God, talk about a lot of work. I think I want to do some kind of like a resource where I have them all linked, or I have them all categorized or something on my site. We'll see how that works out. That's definitely not a priority, but I've thought about it. I've thought about that, but you can usually do a search for it and it'll pull up. No popcorn in a movie? Netflix and chill. Netflix and chill has nothing to do with processed carbohydrates. It has to do with these nuts. And I don't mean almonds or walnuts and omega-3s and stuff like that. I'm talking about the OG nuts. Rest means yoga, foam rolling, active rest. I agree. So let's start there. Oh, David, down 26.5 pounds. Good for you, dude. All right, so let's jump into the main topic. And in the meantime, let me know if there's any news, what's going on. If you have any questions, you could drop them down in the comments below. Also, what you're doing this weekend. Are you training? Are you resting? What's up with that? I have a new fire lit under my butt for my training and for my active recovery. The way I always look at time off or resting, I don't like scheduling a rest day. I don't like scheduling a rest day because I feel like right out of the gate, I am giving my body the idea or the concept to slow down. Now, I'm not, just make sure you hear out this entire thing. Don't turn it off. Don't ignore. I want to explain what I mean by not setting up your body mentally, psychologically. Fucking hair all over this place. If it's not my hair, I need coffee. Hold on. Oh my God. If it's not my hair, my beard hair, a little diversion for a second. If it's not my hair, my beard hair, it's like these short little white dog hairs. We all shed. There's just so much hair around this place. If you vacuum, you're just cleaning out the vacuum over and over again. There's so much hair around this place. So much hair. I can't even describe it. I could feel it. It was like a little short one in my throat. Okay, so what I don't like doing, I don't like setting myself up knowing, okay, I'm going to take Wednesday off. This is just a general example, right? I'm going to take a day off on Wednesday. I'm going to take a day off on Saturday. I don't like scheduling that stuff in. And here's why. It's because for me, psychologically, it sets me up mentally to think, okay, those days are a break. When those days come around, and like I said, it's very arbitrary what I'm just describing here. But when those days come around, let's say it's Wednesday and it's my rest day, okay? What if I want to crush in the gym? What if I want to work hard? What if I feel fucking on point? You can look at it two ways. You can see, well, I am resting before I physically am at my limit and need rest because I'm about to get injured or overtrained. Or you can look at it, that in that sense, in that light being a positive, or you can look at it being a negative. Well, I really want to crush. I feel awesome. I feel like tearing up a workout. I should tear up a workout. So you can look at planned rest in a positive, I wouldn't say a positive or a negative light, just two different ways of looking at it. I don't want to say one's right and one's wrong because you have to listen to your body. For me, how about this? What I think about when I go to the gym or during my week, what I think about is tomorrow I am training. And when I call training, I mean tomorrow I'm training, tomorrow I'm doing something. Today, I'm not going to the gym. I didn't get up at the crack of dawn and go train. I slept a little bit longer. I am doing some active stretching and I'll probably do some foam rolling. I'll do some mobility. I did my meditation already. Like I'm going to do active recovery, but I call that training. It's part of your training. It's part of your progress. It's part of you moving forward. Not everything has to be, I'm bleeding out the eyes. I ripped up my calluses. I'm exhausted. I'm wiped out on the floor in a puddle of my own sweat. I got a sick pump. I went super heavy. I maxed out. I trained. I did HIIT train. Not every day has to be a fucking war in the sense that it doesn't have to be some epic record-breaking workout. That's where we have to get off the Super Bowl mentality that every workout has to be astounding. Every workout, and not that every day shouldn't be wonderful or you should try to make it wonderful. First off, it's not going to be. Nothing's perfect. So no matter how good you want your workout to be every time you go, it's not going to always be a 10 out of 10. Sometimes you're going to have a shitty workout. And that just might mean you didn't get a great pump, or you didn't feel as strong as you normally do, or you kind of got out of breath, or you felt a little fatigued and you kind of crashed halfway through. You're going to have those. Even if you plan and do everything to the best of your ability, you're still going to have those days where you have just shit doesn't go right. Okay. It's just the luck of the draw, right? You roll the dice enough, eventually you're going to get snake eyes, right? So when it comes to your outlook, or my personal outlook, which might translate into what, you move forward with, I want to do something every day. I want to be active every day. I want to be doing something to improve, whether it's mentally or physically. I want to stay on my nutrition. I want to do some type of recovery. If I'm not training, I will be doing mobility work. I'll be doing something that helps my body lengthen, helps my body inhibit, helps my body relax, helps my body shut down, helps my body repair, helps my body, quote, rest. It's called active rest. You go for a walk. Maybe you play some basketball casually, right? Not necessarily a high competition. You do foam rolling, you do yoga, you do some type of activity that is going to give you action, but low intensity restorative action. Things like basketball, things like tennis, there's a lot of chaos there, and there's a lot of effort, and there's a lot of repetitive movement, which can be a stress more than active recovery, right? When you're playing tennis, you're not using your left arm, you're swinging with your right if you're right-handed. You're not switching hands, so it's very lopsided. Yoga, you're doing counter poses, you're doing flexion, extension, you're doing internal and external rotation, you're complementing both sides of the movement and different types of movement and different planes of motion, and it's controlled, and you're working with the breath more. It's a much better connection, so I find that much better of a use in terms of active recovery, in terms of that process. I would much rather do yoga or some type of controlled active recovery, lengthening, isometric, for example, breath work. I feel like that's much more restorative, especially when you're comparing it to resistance training. When you're doing heavy resistance training, that's a lot of stress. When you do a rest workout, it sounds a little bit ironic, right? a rest workout or active recovery, most people think, well, what's active recovery? How can you be active and recover? Well, you're balancing out the same type of stress. You're kind of going through this anti-stress modality and protocol where you are reducing the internal tension in the muscles. You're adding mobility, whereas the internal tension that builds up from heavy strength training doesn't always dissipate when you leave. That potential energy and that tension and those knots and just that stress lingers in the nervous system. It lingers in the joints, it lingers in the soft tissue. And that's where you get these adhesions. That's where you get these things locking up over time. You become this stiff fucking board. You might be strong, but it puts you at risk for injury, especially if you're just bending over and picking something up. If you're not mobile, you can have issues because your body starts creating mobility. And we've talked about this before. Your body starts creating mobility at areas of the body and joints where there is not mobility, or there should be more stability. Your body is going to try to go from point A to point B, whether you like it or not, whether it's mobile or not. Your body is going to do its best to go from up here to down there if that's where you need to go to reach to pick up the piece of paper or your phone or your keys or your shoes. Right? Your body is going to go around whatever kind of detour it needs to get the job done. And if it has to be more mobile or rotate at a joint that isn't the best to rotate with, your body will do that. So it's important to remap and teach your body the process and how to move. What are your thoughts on lactic acid? It's just a byproduct of activity. Is it bro science? No, it's actual science. But you can't attribute all your issues to lactic acid. Soreness and all those things. It's not like it's just lactic acid eating away your body. It's micro trauma. It's muscle tears. It's micronutrient or electrolyte imbalances. It's just physical stress. That's where you're getting sore from, and that's where you're getting fatigue from, and in later days you're breaking down the muscle tissue. Is cardio a good active rest? Yes and no. It's not really that specific. It's not really necessarily active rest. It might be an active rest for your cardiovascular system, but it doesn't necessarily help your body repair. Cardiovascular activity is something where your body just pumps more blood. Your heart works harder, and because you're doing exercise that requires oxygen, your body increases the circulation of blood and the respiratory rate to gather more oxygen from the air and move that around the system faster and faster, because that's what's needed for that long, steady state cardio. It doesn't necessarily help with muscle trauma or muscle tears or being sore. It could help a little bit. But if you had a really crushing workout and you do some cardio, doesn't mean you're not going to feel sore the next day. It can help. It's not going to make it worse, most likely. But active rest really, in my opinion, needs to be some kind of a counterbalance to the stress that caused that damage. Why are you doing the recovery? What are you recovering from? Well, I lifted fucking heavy for 4 days or for 5 days this week. Okay. So maybe just walking could be decent, but also what about some foam rolling, some self-massage, some yoga that will improve or inhibit the muscles, create some more inhibition, reduce the tension, reduce the spasmodic activity inside the muscles, reduce and improve your fiber alignment, with the foam rolling, with the stretching, kind of remap the body, help it get back to where it was before you increase so much tension that it just got really short, stiff, and damaged. There's inflammation. So those types of things can be components with the cardio, but also what else can you do that makes you active? Active is just being, taking a proactive approach. What can you do that will counter what caused the damage to begin with? That will help you get back to where you were before in a better place, so you can do that same thing again, so you can continue moving towards your goal. So the active recovery is not just random shit. It shouldn't be random shit. It's not just, hey, what do I feel like doing? Let me do something. Let me go swimming. Let me go for a bike ride. Okay, that's being active, but is it active recovery? You can be active at a low intensity. You can be active doing something else. That's more like cross training. It's like, let me go ride, go for a bike ride. I went for a 30-mile bike ride. Is it active recovery? Well, if you take a day off from weightlifting and do something else, you're not going to be fatiguing the same muscles in the same way, but is that going to help your chest from being sore? your legs that were really sore, your back that was really sore, maybe a little bit, but it was also another day where you weren't doing heavy resistance. So the cycling, it might feel better. You might, get rid of some of those things that got stuck in the muscle tissue and loosen up a little bit, but you still might be sore as shit the next day. Doesn't mean all of a sudden, hey, you did max squats and you crushed your legs on Wednesday. I went for a bike ride on Thursday. I feel fine on Friday. It doesn't happen like that. You don't recover that fucking fast. You still have micro trauma. You still have damage to the tissue. What I want you to do is think a little bit more about your active recovery. It's not just being active. It's not just going and doing something. That's not bad. It's still good. It's still good to do things. It's still good to be moving as a human being. My specific point in bringing up these different aspects of it is, does that really help balance out what you did to cause the damage to begin with? If you're very stressed out mentally, if you're very stressed out mentally, a lot of people, when they're mentally stressed out, they're brutal. Work was hard. My family and my boyfriend, my husband, my wife, and this, mental stress. And then you go and you do a high intensity class, kickboxing or punching or throwing a ball and a rope, and you fucking rage. You have this kind of false concept that, okay, I got rid of that stress. I worked it out, right? I worked it out. No, you have endorphins that make you feel good. You got physical stress out, but if you're having mental stress and you think that going to the gym or something and working out hard balances that out, you're getting a false sense. You're just getting the wrong information. You're exhausting yourself physically, and you have this temporary illusion of feeling better, but what you're really doing is bottling up all the shit that was actually causing the stress to begin with and putting it aside, and it's going to fucking come right back. You're not solving any of the problems. So if you have mental stress, it's meditation. If you have a mental problem, in a sense that you are, with attention or with just interacting and communicating with your significant other or coworkers or people around you, family, you need to work that shit out up here. Doing physical work can help. Of course, yoga is good. And I'm not saying intense exercise doesn't help manage mental stress. But what's causing that to begin with? Is it the communication? Is it the way you're internalizing those conversations? Is it the way that you are processing what's going on with those people around you that's causing stress? Are you causing the stress yourself? Are you causing that mental stress? Are you causing it because of how you're receiving it? Goes back to the fat acceptance and the body positivity videos I've been doing. Just because I say the truth or I say my opinion doesn't mean I'm the enemy just because it offends you. There's a lot of things in this world that you can get offended by. Everyone has 1,000 things you can look online and stuff and see, I'm getting offended by that. You're only offended if you allow yourself to be offended. If you internalize it and interpret it as that, as a personal attack, of course you're going to be offended. But how does that help anyone? It's your fault. If you get offended, it's your fault. And people use the term fault as you're wrong. No, it means it's your fault. If you allow yourself to get offended, that's your doing. It's not the outside world's doing. It's your doing. It's next level shit. However, it's very commonsensical. It's literally, what do these words mean? How am I internalizing these words? I can really get upset and create emotion out of it. Well, now you're making it real. It's not real unless you react that way. But that has to do with taking responsibility for your role in the issue. You're creating this issue. You're taking words and sounds that other monkeys say, and then you're making it, and you're pounding shit and getting upset. They're just words. They're just sounds. Don't let it bother you. Don't let it bother you. It's not necessarily about you. It's not all about you. But that's the human ego, right? Everything's about me. Everything's about me. That means it's me. Something happens, it's me. If it doesn't directly affect me, I don't let it get to me. I mean, and there's an argument for things. You could say that everything in this world affects everyone in some way. Yes and no. It's how we're very disconnected. We're very disconnected with real problems that happen on the other side of the world. We're very disconnected with things like the food industry when people say, well, morally, all these animals are dying and this is dying. And yeah, animals are dying. Humans are animals. People are dying all over the world. Animals are dying all over the world. There's a lot of shit that's bad. You can focus on all the bad things. You can focus on the positive things. You can also shut your mouth and work to make things better, but actually better, not just morality for your own ego, just to soothe you going to sleep at night and feeling good and having a community and having a purpose, right? I mean, like, what's really going to help people? What's really going to help people, right? When we talk about nutrition, what a couple people not eating meat, everyone's going to eat meat. Everyone's eating meat. No one's stopping. It's not changing anything. You know, how is that really helping people rage and get angry about this? How is that helping? You know, we have to focus on what's really helping people. So what's really what's the biggest thing that's going to cause the most issues? I would say mental stress. I would say mental stress. That translates into physical stress, getting control over your feelings, your emotions, and your body. And that's why yoga is very powerful, because yoga is a moving meditation. It's a little bit of both. But going back to the original point, if you have mental stress, going and just raging and exercising and getting exhausted isn't going to solve the problem. It's not going to solve the problem. It's not going to take all the issues out of what's fundamentally bothering you. You know, if it's a mental problem bothering you, then you got to address the source, address that style, address it with meditation, address it with a mental approach, a psychological approach, rather than just go exercise and sweep it under the rug and hopefully it won't bother me tomorrow. It will. It'll come back. It takes a lot to offend me, Sherry. Maybe I'm just not a very nice person. That's nothing to do with it. You just don't internalize what a lot of people say. If you internalize what people say, you'll just be offended all the fucking time. But that's what you get now with the social justice groups. You get all these people that just get offended by everything. If you don't believe what we believe, you're the enemy. You're not a good person. You're angry. You're a hater. You're a shamer. You don't like these types of people or these types of people or these types of people. I think we can just not get into other people's business and let people do what the fuck they want. But when you start imposing what other people have to think, feel, or say, then it becomes a real issue that affects everyone, right? When you start making rules and laws about this, it's very, very, very dangerous, because it's not free speech. You're encroaching on people's ability to define and to discuss things properly. If you're controlling or trying to get me to say something, you're trying to get me to say things a certain way or talk about things a certain way or categorize things a certain way, I'm not allowed to say words. How can we create the conversation that protects our freedom? I find swimming laps is a good approach to dealing with mental stress. Well, that's what meditation is. Doing something that's repetitive, like running, walking, swimming, something that's physically repetitive over and over again. There's this lulling effect in the brain and the body that allows the brain almost to wander. That's literally what moving meditation. It's like what yoga is. Only yoga, you have a much more, you're more connected with the body while you're doing it. Cycling and those things, you just kind of zone out. But that's the same thing as meditation without the movement. If you're sitting there still, it's the same process. You're not doing the boom, boom, the walking, the cycle, the cycling, the swimming. You're still releasing those physical endorphins. You're not. But that's what allows the brain to kind of wander, because you just kind of get into this. You almost disconnect the physical. You give the brain one less thing to worry about, because you're doing that thing over and over again. You kind of put that on autopilot, and then your brain just goes into that meditative state. It's what they call the runner's high as well for people that run, but I don't know. I guess there could be a swimmer's high or a cycler's high. I'm sure it's the same type of concept, but running is like, running is the most natural thing for humans rather than swimming. Swimming would be next. I mean, cycling is just, we created something to do that on, but running that's walking, and then boom, running is the next phase. I think it has to do with being underwater, maybe. Well, you're reducing your senses. If you're underwater, you're not hearing a lot of the things that are normally distracting. So if you're underwater, there's this sensory deprivation. And I don't have like research on it, but have you guys heard of those sensory deprivation tanks where you go in and there's no smell, no sound, no light? Like, it's just completely either all white or it's all dark, and you have no concept of depth. You have no concept of sound. Like, it's just a chamber where there's nothing, no senses. There's nothing to sense. That's what a sense is. It's your body's interpretation of a audio wave, right? Or light or touch, smell, taste, and there's nothing of it. And it's like this almost forced meditation, but your mind just goes and wanders because it doesn't have any idea of what it's, your brain is designed to be in an environment. And when you remove the environment completely, you remove all aspects of sensory analysis from your body. You know, some people get freaked out by where their mind goes or what happens. I have never personally done one, but when you start cutting off different senses, it's less things for your body to have to interpret. Let's see what's going on. It's a slam book. Yeah, so the chat's a little, everyone's zoned in, right? Everyone's super tuned in to the show. Let's see. How do you handle when you're sick as far as recovery? How well do you feel before you go back into a workout? How do you handle when you're sick as far as recovery? It's a good question. I rarely get sick, so I never deal with this. I don't even remember the last time I was sick. I had a headache several months ago. Literally, I don't remember last time I was ill. But you come back when you're ready to. You come back when you're ready to. You come back when you're better. You definitely don't work out while you're sick. You have people say, well, if it's below the neck, you don't work out. If it's above the neck, you go train. That's just stupid. If you're sick and your body is fighting infection, inflammation issues, you shouldn't be working out. If anything, maybe in some situations, maybe things like a sauna could help. There's things like that might help. It depends. Some people have their own thing. Like if you have congestion, you have, a steam room or something that opens up your nasal passages. Some people like to do things like that. But hydration and rest, usually your body just needs rest. If you go to the gym and you start crushing it too early, you're breaking your body down. You're adding stress. Your body's trying to heal itself from stress when you're sick. So you definitely have to make sure that you're feeling better when you come back. Is it Mary Aguilar? Is it bad to train when you feel sore yet? I think you worded that. Is it bad to train when you still feel sore? I'm going to answer it like that because I think it was just a little bit of a miswording there. Is it bad to train when you still feel sore? I would have to say in general, potentially yes. I don't have an exact answer for that because bad is a very interesting term. Another thing that I think we don't address enough in terms of fitness, it's either people are hardcore about the science, people are hardcore about where the study is. If a study says it, okay, that's the only way that we should go down that road. But anyone that's in the industry or that has some kind of a scientific background knows that if you have 5 studies, it doesn't mean that that's still the answer just because you have 5 studies. Just because you have 5 studies doesn't mean that this product is good or that this movement is good just because you have 5 studies. I mean, what do those studies actually test? And, what was the population size? It might lead towards, okay, we don't have one that negates those 5 studies, but doesn't make that truth, right? Doesn't make that a fact. It just means that we have to go further down that road. And then it comes down to funding, interest, blah, blah, blah. So when it comes to bad or good, there are some things in this world that most people agree that are good or bad. It's how we define good or bad. So when we say that word or those phrases and we take it from is this good or is this bad, it's not always black and white like that. There's a lot of things that I do in the gym or with my fitness personally that might not be considered good. It's just some people do that, some people don't. And that's where it comes with nutrition too. Some people eat certain foods and some people don't. Some people can't, right? You have an allergic reaction. For me, if I'm sore, sometimes I will go and train, but I'll adjust how I approach the workout. I won't try to do max reps. I'll warm up slowly and I'll do some different exercise. I'll do higher repetition. I'll lower the intensity. I'll do more form stuff. I'll do more balance or stabilization stuff. I won't do some heavy, type 2 fast twitch action. I won't do any like force or power moves. I'll do more stabilization moves or more endurance type training, isometrics, perhaps lighter weight. So there's less stress and less potential risk for the muscles that are sore. I mean, if I'm crippled sore, I won't. But if I'm still a little bit lingering from my last workout, I might warm up and then just adjust the style of my workout for that session because I know I'm not at 100%. Usually it's a few days after the last day that you're sore where you get back towards 100%, but I'm not also going to work a body part every 2 weeks, for example. So if you're doing it within a 7 to 10 day window and you might be a little bit sore still, it depends. I would always err on the side of caution. I would adjust the resistance and the intensity, but I would also be Skype. Why would it do that? That's weird. So whenever that, now the sound's fine. All the comments are going to come saying you lost sound. Yeah, I get it. So whenever that's so weird how it kicks over. That's the thing on Twitch. Whenever someone follows me on Twitch, I'll adjust that. When someone follows me on Twitch, apparently it kicks off the sound. That didn't used to happen. I'm not sure why that is. Okay, anyway, so sorry podcast people, you just got some weird audio there, but that's why. So the sound's back, and I'll keep an eye on that. Weird. I'll just adjust that so it doesn't happen anymore, or at least that zombie doesn't come up, and then we'll see if it ever happens again. I think that might have happened last time too when we lost sound. So I wonder why. I wonder why that might be related. Sherry, I've lost 30 pounds since May. Haven't gained or lost in a few weeks, but I feel bloated. I don't feel as good as I did. No change in diet. 1 gallon of water a day. Adjusted diet or work out harder? Subjective question. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. I've lost 30 pounds since May. Well, 30 pounds since May. I think you're underestimating how much weight that fucking is. Let's see, May. So June, July, August. That's like 3 or 4 months you lost 30 pounds. That's massive weight loss. That's ridiculous amounts of weight loss. So you haven't gained or lost in a few weeks. I think you're just getting frustrated because you got used to losing weight. That's normal. It's normal not to lose at that same rate. What are you going to lose until you weigh 10 pounds? It's normal for weight loss to plateau. It's normal for weight loss to normalize. But you haven't been doing really detailed body fat analysis. You haven't been doing DEXA scans, so you don't know if you are putting on muscle too, because you're also training, you're lifting weights. So you're going to lose weight at a more rapid pace at the beginning because you're losing body fat. And when you first start training, you're going to be building some muscle, you'll be losing some fat. And once your body finds more of that 0 point and normalizes, you're not going to see as massive of just absolute weight loss changes because you're also building tissue at the same time. And, usually when you're building muscle and losing fat, that's really only for beginners. When you first start getting into weight training, you're more likely to build muscle and lose fat at the same time. As you get more advanced, your body, it's really more one or the other. You're not going to build muscle and lose fat at the same time unless you're very, very new or you really shock your body with some completely different stress and your body responds really well to it. It just becomes more rare. And bloating, I couldn't really answer your question why you feel bloated. Maybe your diet isn't as good as you thought it was. Maybe there's something else going on. Maybe it's because your diet, maybe it's some long-term effect of the way you've been eating after a longer period of time. Maybe it's with sleep. Maybe it's with hydration. Maybe it's with a specific mineral or vitamin or something that you're deficient in. Can't say unless you do blood work. So as much as that's a shitty answer, just you haven't changed your diet. You saw great progress. So it really comes down to some more of the details and maybe your personal situation with your medical condition, whether or not there's something else going on there. So you can lose a lot of weight and be deficient in a nutrient or deficient in sleep. And then I get some other messages also too. I get messages on Facebook Messenger and my Facebook page and stuff too as well, DMs on Instagram, people that are working night shifts. A lot of you are working night shifts, third shift, you're doing the midnight, you're doing the opposite circadian rhythm, and you're struggling with losing weight. And there's only so much you can do without getting back on a good sleep pattern. Even if you're training hard, you're eating well and all this stuff, well, you're fundamentally, the most basic thing that a human being does is eat, move, and sleep and shit. The basic functions of a human. And if you're not sleeping properly at the right time of day, and you're not sleeping enough, and you're sleeping during the day when you should be awake, and the complete opposite, your hormones and everything just gets fucked up. You're based on this fundamental system, and you're undoing it. You're undoing it completely. So it's really hard to outdo evolution. And that's what we're finding out with diabetes and with improper eating habits, with nutrition. We can't outdo revolution. We can't fix that shit. We can't outdo the fact that our body reacts to certain foods better than others. You might wish that, I wish more than anything that my body could live off Twizzlers. Well, the human body doesn't work well off fucking Twizzlers. It just doesn't. It's fake food. It's not evolved. It's not what our body is designed to consume. So it's not going to work well off Twizzlers, no matter how much you want it to. And your body does not work well off being asleep during the day and being awake at night. It does not. We're not bats. We're not nocturnal creatures. We're diurnal. So it's very, very different. I believe that's the right term. It's very, very different. So fundamentally, we're working against our evolution if you do that. And that's why there's resistance, because your body's under stress. So your body's going to hold on to fat and water and not work as well. You have blood work on Wednesday of next week. You're good with slow weight loss. Well, you don't know really what's going on. Unless you're doing detailed body fat with a DEXA scan, you don't know if you're losing weight or not. You might still be losing fat, but not realize it. Don't forget, you live with yourself all the time. You wear the same clothes. You look in the mirror. You're not going to notice subtle changes day to day. So in the past couple of weeks, you might have lost fat, built some muscle. How do you know? And just going by how you feel bloated. That's something else. You feel bloated. That means something. At the same time, a feeling isn't necessarily a fact. What that actually means isn't clear. You don't necessarily know what exactly is going on. There's always the unknown. There's always the stuff that we're not sure of exactly. You can't put your finger on it for whatever reason. So you got to keep an open mind about it and just keep on moving forward. There's nothing else to do. Hard to answer that question, but once you get your blood work done, see if there's anything there that might be relating to it. And if not, you just move on from there. So rest is important. It's super important, but I want you all to start thinking about your rest periods and your rest days, how that actually relates to what you damaged your tissue with. Are you doing something that really balances out the stress? Or are you just doing some random activity just to feel active? Don't do active recovery. It's not busy work. Active recovery is not busy work. It's a tactical approach. It's part of your training. It's part of the process of fixing what you destroyed. And how you destroyed it makes a big difference in how you repair it. You did a lot of stress. You did a lot of resistance training, foam rolling, yoga, lengthening, relaxation, meditation. That helps a lot balance out the stress. The brain can contribute to muscular stress, absolutely, and muscular tension, and vice versa. The body can translate stress to the brain. It's a system. It's a two-way road. And then it's very easy to feel overwhelmed and feel anxious and all knotted up and fucking wired up. Well, let's try to figure out where the stress is coming from. And depending on what kind of activity caused you damage, you want to repair it accordingly. So it's not just, hey, let me just go for, a walk. There's nothing wrong going for a walk. There's nothing wrong with going swimming, nothing wrong with cycling per se. But it's not necessarily going to be a good, complete picture of active recovery. I like more targeted approach. I like actually doing something that balances out what caused the stress and what caused the damage to begin with. You go at that head on, you'll have a much better restorative process. Ralph, waiting to get out of work for Gains Friday. Hell yeah. Well, I'm going to do some stretching and a little yoga flow right now, right after the show, while I upload the podcast and get that out to everyone. Spotify, Apple Podcast peeps. Remember, go to swolenormousx.com and click on podcast so you can subscribe to the audio gains. And I will be posting some more ish throughout the weekend. Super, super stoked. Everyone that's been answering the Q&A post in the private Swolenormous X live page, those of you that are Swolenormous X members, that video will be going live on that this weekend to answer any questions. So if you want to post some stuff up there, I will be doing and answering that live Q&A this weekend. So I'll be going live there. And more ish coming, more stuff coming, more good shit, resting, active recovering. Drop in the comments below if this is an active recovery weekend or you're making some sick gains. I can't wait. I'm taking today off. I can't wait to get the fucking gain train on the tracks again tomorrow. So super excited about that. But remember, focus on active recovery, what you should be doing to target and balance what actually caused the stress and the destruction of your body to begin with. Don't skirt the issue. Don't just be busy to be busy. Actually actively recover. Make it part of your training. Be proactive. Take as much interest and put as much effort into your recovery as your training, and you're going to see so many multiples, just exponential benefits in addition to just more results in any direction, whether you're trying to get leaner or build more muscle or get more mobile. It's just good in all aspects if you actually take a targeted, efforted approach to your recovery. So thanks for joining me for 854. I'll see you tomorrow for 855. Episode 855 of the most muscular Swolecast, Beardcast, Broadcast, Gaincast, Mancast, Pimpcast, and Sleazecast in the realm. Because when I flex, you flex, we all flex our biceps. Thanks for joining me. See you tomorrow. Peace, McGee's fam. Deuce, Magoose, Papa Swolio. Out.